Congratulations to the fellow honorees. It was wonderful to catch up with Jason. I haven't seen him forever. We got back into our old banter. And Emily, extraordinary contribution already in your lifetime to humanities and the world. So thank you for that. I'm so humbled and honored to be with you today. These moments are to remember the people that have invested in us and those who we hope to invest along the way. Thank you to the faculty and the staff and the administrators that have given their professional lives to teach, coach, encourage, and guide students like me, but also to believe in these students, as Dr. Morrison alluded to, oftentimes before they truly believe in themselves. I'm also so grateful for my parents who are here today, my first teachers who prayed for me and let me play and create, invent, and dream, and sacrificed for the opportunity to come to Wiliam Jewell. I appreciate my sister, who is my best friend and truest confidant, the graduate of 2000 from Wiliam Jewell. My three amazing boys, two of whom are here today. One of them is living his best life, newly graduated from college in New York. Dear friends and coworkers, colleagues who are in the room, and of course, my husband, Scott, who is affectionately known in our household and others as the CRO, the Chief Rescue Officer. So he rescues all kinds of things. So back before we had iPhones in the 90s, might be the olden days, when I was a student here at Jewell, I craved as much context and insight from the business world as possible. I had big dreams. At that time, I wanted to become an attorney. It had been a dream since I was 11 or 12, which I know is strange. I took 4 years with Doctor of Latin with Dr. Jane Woodruff to prepare for this, this profession. And I almost did not survive, actually. But I loved learning and coaching from the outside. So students, here are 4 tenets to consider as you build your professional lives. And just as the words you heard from Emily and her brilliance, and you will hear from Jason, and that you hear throughout your 4 years, you'll take portions of these things and then make them your own as you go out into the world. I hope to honor along the way some very special people and memories from my time on the Hill. So tenet number 1, seek out people who believe in you and challenge you. A little story. So I'm sitting on a Southwest Airlines plane with a number of other Jewell students, and we are on our way to Washington, D.C. We are on our way there to interview for various internships. And with us is the amazing late dean of students, Dr. Gary Phelps. I'd printed like a half ream of paper from what was the computer lab. It was a space with computers that we used. On all kinds of policy positions from the senator I was going to be interviewing with. I had over-prepared probably for this moment, but at one point, Gary was walking around on the plane and looked back, and I know he saw the fear in my eyes. He knew me well. I had spent many hours in student affairs working and enjoying that time. And he came over and leaned in very quietly, and he said, "Ashford, you are prepared. You will be fine. And you're supposed to be here." He winked, sat down, and that was it. But that faith in me, it sustained me through crazy days in Washington, D.C., working very long hours in the Russell Senate office building, also moonlighting at a presidential campaign until 2 a.m, doing press clippings, copying until all hours of the night. That belief in me has stayed with me in my soul. And I was one of hundreds, maybe thousands of students that he impacted in that way. So thank you, Gary. Short story number 2. I was back from DC, rehearsing my senior presentation in PR. How many seniors are out there that are preparing for their senior thesis or presentation? Are there any in the room? It's a lot of pressure, right? Getting everything together. Dr. Lois Ann Harris, who is so special to me, she sat back afterwards after hearing this and said in her beautifully eloquent, casual way, 1, you don't need that stack of cards. And she was referring to the large stack of highlighted and color-coded, methodically produced cards that I had in my hand. She said, "Ashley, you know this material, and those cards are holding you back from sharing the story and connecting with the audience. 2, You're compelling despite these things. You think and write well. Communications. It could be a career for you. You should consider it. I held this direction as well as her confidence, her corrections, and her insights. These learning moments, all of it. Again, deep in my soul. For those of you in this room that have poured deeply into students, thank you. Remember that articulation of your confidence becomes part of their DNA. It's such a wise investment. Belief matters. Tenet number 2, be curious, courageous, and adapt quickly. I returned from DC and got an interesting call from Student Affairs. It said, hey, I need you to do an interview for a company next week. I think it's called Kerner, maybe Cerner. I don't know. But they have big plans, and they're looking at some Jewell people, and we need you to go. I know you have a job. And I was like, okay, I had plans, but I was curious. I researched the little company, the founders, the work, the opportunity, its stock split, and I was compelled by its vision. So I interviewed, and the wise leader I interviewed with said, look, you can defer law school a year. We need you here right now, and there aren't that many companies to build a company like we are going to become in Kansas City. That was G. Lillick Patterson, associate number 7 at Cerner, and the incredibly visionary, demanding, and generous leader that she was. The bottom line, my then fiance Scott and I had to be curious, courageous, and adapt quickly. God opens doors, and he closes them, but you have to jump. That little company went from $250 million to $6 billion during my tenure. The competitors, the environment, the aspirations, they were always changing. And as humans, we may not love change, but we can become adept at looking at things as constantly in motion. A little bit of a moment here. I also want to just encourage you to be courageous and agile when things do get dark. Professional life is not all roses. You may be pushed down, demeaned, held back, not chosen, looked down upon, told something doesn't suit you, told you don't fit the mold. It's sad to experience these things, and that's where these people that are your friends and colleagues who believe in you are such a wonderful resource. So you should go be mad or cry for a few minutes, then take those pearls of wisdom, adjust your tie or your tiara, pick a new goal if you need to, and then get up and get going. Tenet number 3. I'm going to go back to my Latin roots in honor of Dr. Woodruff. Explore your inganium. This is I-N-G-E-N-I-U-M. What a fantastic Latin word. This is one that I took with me. I like to think of this as your own personal magic. It's the unique combinations of skills and gifts and attributes that really make you, you, and it's used in literary context to really describe the magical mind. We have to have the discipline to study ourselves and our inganium. We want to cultivate all of our dimensions, and Jewell is an amazing place to do that because we cultivate people that are multidimensional in all of their attributes, capabilities, and leadership. Ask yourself and others, those who you trust, a lot of questions. And just as Emily mentioned, consider that feedback a gift. When do you do your best thinking? I do it in the morning, and I have colleagues who think much better at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. What makes you excited? What are you great at and why? What are you great at that scares you because it's really hard? What dimensions add joy to your life? So other than comms, I loved being in Dr. Armstrong's political science class. I loved singing with Dr. Epley. These things brought me joy. What do you do that annoys others? And who is giving you that feedback so you don't annoy more people, right? Your pursuit is how you use your inganium, your magic, to make a difference. And in the workplace, this really translates to how do you create value for others and for the organization. You need to look around at the gaps you see in creating value. So in my very first job, I realized that executives that I saw all around me, many of whom were engineers, were really struggling with communicating their business plans, their stories, their ideas. And I saw a gap and I thought, maybe I could be the bridge between their minds and our clients. So I took some night classes in design and became a very early expert in PowerPoint, which I know you're like, oh. But you know what? It was a tool at the time, and it still is. And it wasn't that I wanted to be an expert in PowerPoint, but I wanted to help them share their business plans and stories. And in the process of all those moments, there was increasing demand. I learned so much from them about strategic thinking and the way they were building our company. And they learned how to be better communicators. So, you can really bridge these gaps together and create value. Tenet number 4, create systems that bring out your best and bring out the best in others. What I mean by systems, and this is very practical, are processes, tools, and habits that help you create your best work. Okay, a few personal examples, and this is where we get vulnerable. I had to accept and capitalize on the fact that I process verbally. Can you imagine that? I do. I think out loud. I think in the car, I speak in the car, I talk in the shower. This was extraordinarily disconcerting to my husband when we got married, that I was talking to the air. But it's an important part of the way I personally solve problems and the way my brain works. I think through solutions, I pitch ideas, and I prepare for crucial conversations. You have things about yourself you're still exploring, and you should embrace those things as ways that you create your best work. I've also established a method for writing and creative work. It starts with having uninterrupted, albeit small, amounts of time for me to think, write, and create. Then it moves to iteration with others, which is such a joy. Creativity is a process and a discipline. You need to learn about how you create your best work. And for anyone that is looking for a light read, this is Creativity, Flow, and the Psychology of Discovery and Invention. And this book articulated the process of flow and creation and writing. And I've learned through the years that many people who are inventors, creators, academics, and others really relate to this. And you'll take pearls from it, but think about something like this as a way to learn more about yourself. A big part of the system I have is actually not about me. For people and I work with, I think about how do I understand and capitalize on their ingenium? How do I match those personal talents and gifts and magic with what my organization needs? How do I shift my approach to bring out their best? How do I offer feedback in the moment, which really encourages them, but gives them things to think about and improve? And I hire people who are great. I hire great people who are smarter than me, or I partner with them. I look for folks who have diverse ideas that are better at me than certain things. There's a system, a symphony in creating work with others, and it starts with a common definition of winning. Then there's the magic in that exchange of ideas, building on one another, debating, writing, designing, creating, solving issues, and then finally, birthing a new idea, project, or campaign to the world. Building with others brings me joy, and it comes in many forms. But all of this starts with my belief in people. And I learned that first from my parents, that God made them uniquely, that they are valued, and their skills and experience have brought them to this moment, this project, to make a difference. So in conclusion, 4 tenets: seek out people who believe in you, be curious, courageous, and adapt quickly. Explore your ingenium and how that relates to the world, and create systems that bring out the best in you and in others. So, Cardinals, go be the very best versions of yourselves, here on the Hill, in the community, and beyond. To the college and all of its leaders, thank you for this immense honor. I'll be forever grateful. Thank you.